good for diabetic people. I had to look into this and see what is the best possible thing I can take from this, so that I can implement it in the research, so that see whether it works for the people with diabetes. So I understood the rationale behind it. What is the rationale behind it? You have to reduce the central adiposity. Very central adiposity is abdominal girth, should be reduced. You can do, I say Surya Namaskara, you can do that, no? I can say that. No, that's not accepted. Because it increases the appetite, it cannot be given. So like that, there are so many rationale you have to do. So I took some 4 postures in this and then integrated with some pranayama and other thing. We completed the trial, and when the trial is over and other thing, this has not come down from 8.5 to, no, it has not come. We have not achieved this. For some people it has been come down, not for all the person. But all those people who did yoga, their quality of life improved, their mindfulness level improved, their cognitive processes improved. So I got result for this, but not for this. With the same protocol, standardized protocol. So this is the conflict we will have as therapists, because standards of the research will say what your therapy should be versus what you want to do and what ultimately the patient is going to get. So this is only for research. This is only for research. But when I do the therapy, I keep the rationale in mind, also the individual needs, and try to apply and document it. Document this so that I can disqualify this over a period of time. Next 5 years, if I can do my therapy consistently with diabetic patients, let us say, and then I will say, no. Yes, what you say is maybe correct. This may work trikona, some other postures may be there, can be there, but I have included this thing. So that is where your clinical practice becomes very standardized. You have to kick out the practices which are not relevant and keep those practices which are relevant to do the therapy best. That is going to be the trend. Then people will come flocking, because you have shown the evidence of reducing this, improving this, doing something, etc., etc. That's why documentation is the most important aspect of clinical practice. Because you yourself don't know what to do after 10 years, because you would have given therapy for somebody somewhere and you don't know what will be working for somebody else. So because we have a lot of this individualized approach, we may not have that backup knowledge with us. So that backup knowledge comes with the not standardization, with our own way of individual application and documentation. Apply the practices, see the outcome, document it, and try to see the rationale and how it works so that you can scale up the therapy work that you do. And one day you will be called superior yoga therapist, because you are able to deliver clearly the outcome. Effectiveness of the therapy will be the maximum. Shall we go to the back one? 1 second. And you also, another thing is, we have seen yoga research papers and other thing. Yoga is effective for everything. It is good for only panacea for everything. No, don't believe that. It is not like that. So you should know to whom it is effective rather than, now the trend in the research is not whether yoga is effective or whether it reduces the stress or whether it's not only that. It is who is going to be benefited by yoga, who is not going to be. Because money, time. So people spend money and time, You can't make them come every day for over next 1 year and ultimately nothing has happened, the person is same. especially with clinical issues. So there, you have to be very clear. No, please don't come for yoga therapy. Finish that therapy. Additionally, if you want, you can come to yoga. Like that, you should be able to tell. So that is the trend in the therapy work. Find out where it works, where it doesn't work. But honestly, all of us will believe that yoga works for everybody. It works in all conditions, it works for everybody, and there is something good for everybody in yoga. It's because of my samskara, yoga samskara. Please don't do that. As a therapist, you should not do that. As a yoga sadhaka, you can do it. As a person running an institute, you can do that. As a person, you love yoga, you can do that, but not as a therapist. As a therapist, you have to reduce the suffering of the person, not increase the suffering of the person. So that's why, when one person called me 6 months back, she wanted some therapy from me, and I know it won't work for her. And she told me that she has already gone to 2 to 3 people. I said, okay, all the 3 of them are best teachers, but still it has not helped you. That means you should not waste your money on yoga. I told her, you please take some medication and also do some other type of work, will help you a lot. Poor thing, she listened to me and I felt happy about it. Because you should not, cheat people. Sorry. Clarity of condition where it is effective. That follows from that previous one. Integration with therapies also you should know. One of the, if you are working on yoga therapy as an internal process work, it works beautifully along with psychotherapy, cognitive behavior therapy. If you are working with yoga, asanas and other things, it can be very well integrated with other somatic oriented therapies. So this way you can find out what is it that it works with well. So henceforth, this is going to be the new trend in the yoga therapy. People will have joint team related activities in the therapy work. Shall we go? Next one. Lastly, I want to say a few words about the future. Quite a tough topic, Saraswati. Future of the therapy, you have to reflect on these points, and this is for the esteemed audience here who are all very good practitioners and also good therapy workers, coaches, management persons. These are all the things that has to be contributed to the field, both in yoga sadhana as well as in therapy. The first thing is the theoretical model of health and illness from yoga perspective. We are still following the modern medicine or Ayurvedic based model of health and wellness. So theoretical concept based on yoga perspective has to be communicated across. So when you see a patient, you can ask them, Arogyam, how is your Arogyam? No, that is very understandable from yoga point of view. Swastham. All those words are very common. And the model of health is Panchamaya model, where all the 5 are integrated. That is the integrated model of health in yoga, which is not yet popularized. So you have to use what we are doing in yoga therapy, in generally courses, in the therapy work and other thing. We are borrowing the terms from the modern medicine or psychology or other field and fitting it into yoga. And we feel very, very miserable because yoga doesn't fit into that. Yoga has its own model of health and well-being. So well-being is, different concepts are there. That's where Raghu and Saraswati are bringing concepts into that. Diagnostic criteria. We don't have any diagnosis in yoga. So you have to develop diagnostic criteria in yoga based on the symptoms. So in that, again, I'm asking Radha Krishnan to help me. So I'm planning to develop a tool for analysis with Saraswati's help. So we can diagnose the patient based on the yogic concepts so that therapy can be appropriately deployed. Okay, that is second thing, which is another area. You can take any terminology and develop that, because we haven't done the yoga therapy in the beginning. Patanjali taught Yoga Sutras, and then he had a very evolved Shishyas. But we are in a modern day where we have a lot of issues. Today it is, we are just past COVID thing, who knows what else comes. So we have to be ready with the tools for a different time frame, as Kalo Gachati. And then indicators, health and wellness indicators according to yoga. Can you just give me one indicator of health according to yoga? Breath. Sleep, and then appetite. Bowel movement, appetite, see, energy, good. Very good. How do you see all those things? Prashnam, darshanam, good, very good. So your most of these things are borrowed from Ayurveda. Energy, appetite, breath, and all. Breath yoga. We will put it in yoga, poor thing. Won't you be able to detect sattva rajas in somebody? Try to do that. That's one of the best indicator of mental health is sattva. That's one of the best indicator. Then therapy stages and outcome. That's why I asked for this thing, because I thought I'll take this. Saraswati, I'll take only 2 minutes, adukapram kada mudichiduven. Okay, this you remember because we don't have therapy stages. All of you know there is a consultation stage. Just now you had this, Hanam, Upayam, Hetu, all those things you do know. You have a consultation stage. Consultation stage plus it should have a diagnosis. You should have a diagnosis also based on yoga. So this is an iterative process, like it is not one day itself you will do the diagnosis. It may take 1 session, 2 session or 3 session where you confirm the diagnosis. You don't do the diagnosis, but you get it confirmed over a period of time. That is the first stage of therapy. From there, you do a practice you give, that is called treatment intervention. You start with a treatment intervention which will be lasting for 2 to 3 weeks. I am just taking this 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes it may be a little bit more on an average. So this 2 to 3 weeks you put a particular practice. This practice is both a learning practice. The person learns how to breathe, how to move the body, how to do certain types of analysis, many things. And this treatment is called as test treatment. You test the person whether they respond to this treatment. That is the second stage. Then, so where is the first stage? Here. Second stage is here. Now this second stage itself will feed to your consultation, further to your diagnosis. Okay, let us say in the first consultation the person says, I can't sleep at all. So you sleep, you diagnose it as insomnia, borrowing the term from modern medicine. And then you can do yogic diagnosis. What is the nidra? Nidra avastha is not proper. That's all. It's inappropriate nidra. Nidra is not continued. So then what you do, some intervention you give. And the 2 to 3 weeks, it resolves well. Your intervention is good. Fair enough. Now it doesn't resolve, let us say. Then you have to go deeper. So this is called short-term intervention and its resolution. Then what you do, something else comes up. A person will become closer, will narrate a little bit more. Then you go to a treatment stage where you have stage 2 of your treatment, where you do the maintenance of this, which is very, very important. Maintenance of this achievement, plus you introduce some more goals for this to be achieved. This is how stage by you have to proceed, second stage. So you maintain, you go. Now the patient drops out, nothing can be done. The patient lost for follow-up. That's okay. Okay. Then the third stage is you continue the treatment 3 stage where you achieve this goal, maintain the first set of goals, second set of goal, and then you take it for the person wellness stage. What is the wellness stage? So this takes 2 to 3 weeks, this takes another 2 months, this takes another 4 months, let us say. I'm just on an average. By 6 to 8 months, you should have resolved to a level the problem of the individual and sent him or her home. I mean, I'm not saying that you're doing a in-house training or something like that. The condition is resolved and this much benefit is achieved with yoga therapy. Beyond this, nothing is possible, or we have to look at it after some time. And after this, you please ask the person to come for follow-up. The follow-up stage is the long-term effect of the yoga therapy. This is the long-term effect. Please come after 6 months. I would like to see you. That's how you terminate it. After 6 months, you have recorded all those things, no? Check the sleep quality, check for any other issues, check for whether they are practicing, etc., etc. What are all the things came up, and the whole issue may be something else may be there, something other things will be resolved. Like that, you have to take it stage by stage and do a follow. When you do this type of recording of your therapy intervention, definitely, all the medical professionals who are doing parallel therapy in other forms will also have a lot of respect for you and also will have a credibility for the type of work that you are going to do. And of course, you yourself will understand what you can do and cannot do. So it answers all the questions: who will respond to your therapy, who will not respond to your therapy. It also answers to your question, which are the things which you can easily resolve, which you cannot resolve. Sleep, easily resolvable. Other condition conflicts, not easily resolvable. Like that, you will get to know a lot about your own therapeutic process. That's very, very, very important. Now, most important thing I want to say is supervision. When you sit with your supervisor, you have to go through this at this level, one supervisor level, you have to discuss. This is my potential diagnosis for time being. Yes, and with this diagnosis, I am going with this treatment. Now, this treatment was done this way and this is the outcome. Like that, you have to do step by step, you have to sit with the supervisor. Supervisor is not for your personal practice. Your personal practice has simultaneously goes. Supervisor is there for your clinical practice, your clinical practice, and also decision making, and also fallback. The patient says, hell with you, whatever therapy you have given, I have ended up with this type of pain in my back, what can I do? No, the supervisor will come and assure you. No, don't worry, she is a very good therapist. Only thing is, some problem has come up, we are there to take care of you. So that fallback will be there, supervisor. So this is very, very important for professionalizing yoga therapy, also important for you to consolidate your therapy practice as a clinical practice. Okay? Decision making, support, and therapy outcomes can be shared with the supervisor, and then you should have a helpline. Helpline is when I am in distress, I don't know what to do with the patient, I will call Saraswati, please help me. That's it. Yes, Saraswati, that's what it is. Okay, very important, because I am telling you this is going to be the future therapeutic systematic way of doing your therapy work. Documentation, I told you many times, feedback, case condition, history, and all observation has to be documented. Evidence dissemination is among your people. You have to share it with your friends or colleagues and other things. Hey, I have a difficulty in handling this patient. Can you just do 2 sessions with him or her? Like that you can do a lot of support. We used to do that in Mandaram, no? Remember? And then implementation and re-evaluation. When you implement a particular therapy program, re-evaluate whether everything is going okay, and then continue with the practices that you give. Suppose you have a roadblock, you don't know that nothing is happening, give time for it to heal. Things will work out again. Please come after 1 week, I will definitely see you. Then you resume the therapy. Things may work out differently also. That much of thing you can have. Shall we go to the last one? I think that's it. I have done everything. Acharyat padam adatte shishyaha swamedhaya padam padam sabbrahmacharibhyaha padam kalakramena cha. You would have learned something from your teacher, Acharya. From your discussion among the people, you can learn something. And you can also learn from colleagues, your reflective thing. So that's why whenever you do therapy, please carry a field notes, a book, five color notebook, something that is where you enter your therapy notes. And when you enter that, that will be your ready reckoner whenever you want some clarity. I have pages of pages, things like this, but sometimes I don't see it at all. But it gives you suddenly a way of, oh, this can be resolved with this way. So like that you will find that. So carry that. That is your reflection. In therapy, I'm not talking about the reflection which he did in the morning, the previous session. That was different. It's for personal involvement. This is for clinical practice. And then Sabbrahmacharibhya Kala Kramena. As and when you do the therapy, sometimes you really learn a lot over years of experience. Thank you very much. Bye.
Weekly one session usually we take it. So people want weekly everyday session. So what is the therapy research, is going to say from the Vishnumacharya perspective?
Okay. Now every once in a week therapy session was initially started because it was not to make the student dependent, to become self-empowered. Okay, you have to practice, that is why. But there are some conditions where once in a week therapy doesn't work. You have to do it thrice a week also, where the person doesn't have this either mental stability or a pain is there, or person is not capable of understanding the instruction. You have to do thrice a week. Thrice a week is also. Daily, no, don't do it. That's too much of dependency, because you have other cases also. Number 2. Now, then the decision making about how many times I will see this patient depends on the diagnosis, patient's conditions, and your time availability and the level of your intervention. Okay, so you can do even every day 3 days, then you can space it out once in 3 days, then you can space it out once in a week. Have I answered? The risk of doing every day is, especially in dependency cases, they won't practice, but they will be happy to come and see you and chat with you.